Please.
Hey bosses, welcome back to Boss Please and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Feels good. 2018 feels good.
Yes,
Does it though?
back
So far.
You know, so far, I feel like there's a lot of good energy, a lot of good vibes. Everyone's super excited for 2018 because everyone was excited to see 2017 go.
Yes.
And so far, so good.
Yeah.
So far, so good.
Cool.
So how are we bosses starting off the new year this week?
Well, I got a promotion.
Yes, you did.
Which was really cool. Totally unexpected, but I heard towards the tail end of winter break. And so I am the big boss now,
That's
which
amazing.
is totally crazy because I started at the company like 4.5 years ago and have worked my way up. And it's just wild to think that I literally started as an editorial assistant making pretty much half of what I make now. Never give up, I guess.
That's awesome.
I've been thinking to myself, all the times that you doubt yourself and you're down on yourself and sort of like reflecting a lot and realizing that good things do happen to good people.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to let myself enjoy my moments this year. So this is one of my moments that I'm letting myself enjoy.
Of course.
That I got a raise, that I got a new job. And yeah, I'm just I'm riding the 2018 wave. Let's hope this is the first of many good things to happen.
It will be.
awesome.
I
Yeah.
totally feel
Congrats.
that.
That's
How about
great.
you, girl?
I quit one of the agencies that I sing for, which is a big thing for me because
Okay.
I needed to let go of one of them and just to focus on my company and my music and my career and touring and everything this year. So there's still 3 others that I need to quit, but
Slowly but surely.
slowly but
Slowly,
surely.
it's
So
happening.
I quit one of them, and it kind of was a blow to them. But I mean, I'm leaving on good terms. I was with them for 4 years, and I was very happy. But I just need to move on. I don't want
Yeah.
to get comfortable.
When you feel it in your gut,
Yes.
you know when it's
It
time.
was
And
time.
I
It
know
was time.
how you are, so
Yes.
that's really good.
Yes,
Good
and
for
I got
you.
an intern.
Hey.
That's when you know you're a boss.
Yeah, so she starts for me this week actually. So I'm excited.
Maybe we'll introduce her.
Yes.
Oh yeah, she can be a
Yes.
guest on the show.
That'd be
That'd be great. For me, kind of going along with Jill, because I do have a new job going into the new year. I mostly freelanced my whole life, and now I'm like I have a full-time job, so I had to pick my health insurance today, you guys. I was going through, I was like, okay, what do I want? Like, how much
I
do I want
love
to pay
that.
for? And I'm like, ooh, this is a small deductible. Okay.
Are you done stressing out about it?
I'm done. I've
That's
signed
so
up.
funny.
I have like dental now. I'm like, oh my God, you guys, I'm like low-key so healthy.
Wow. You can go to the
hilarious.
doctor, Meg.
I can go
Oh
to the
my gosh.
doctor.
Have you
like,
not been going to the doctor? This
no,
whole
I mean,
time?
I have. I did have, I had some form of health insurance,
Yeah.
but now it's
It's like legit.
yeah. And I didn't actually have dental before. Not to sound gross. Like I'm I do take care of my teeth, but I always went
That's the one that everybody doesn't have. So don't feel like bad about that.
Dental is not expensive at all.
It's not.
It's
That's yeah.
not expensive at all. But I do know, it's been maybe a year or 2 since I've been, and I'm like, I've never had a cavity. I'm like, now I'm probably gonna have a cavity.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So it's okay. It's fine.
sure.
It happens, but we'll deal with that when it crosses it. But speaking of being healthy and health insurance, we have an amazing guest on. She's gonna talk all about our health, but I want to talk about how we take care of ourselves and how we're gonna take care of ourselves health-wise going into the new year.
Well, I pledged, I don't do resolutions, but I pledged in the new year that I would try to get as much sleep as possible because sleep is really important and it's very restorative. And, people that sleep a lot are not lazy. We're just creative people that need our rest.
Of course.
That's what I always say. We're not lazy. But I do have this really bad habit because my schedule is so weird. I work really early hours. I can never sleep in on the weekends. And usually what happens is I will wake up at 5:30 in the morning on a Saturday, come downstairs, make myself a cup of coffee, watch TV shows, while my boyfriend is still sleeping upstairs. He doesn't wake up until 9:30. So I think what has been working is I'll still do that, but then I go and take a nap because, why not? If I don't have anything to do, I might as well take care of myself. So that's one way I decided to stay healthy in the new year. And another way is I've been having a ton of stomach problems. Finally went to a doctor and will hopefully have a diagnosis soon. So, it's just going to be smooth sailing in the new year. Just really no sickness, taking care of myself, and everyone else should too. Because being sick sucks.
I know.
does.
Well, I'm glad you went to the doctor, and I'm
Yeah.
really glad. Hopefully, we'll figure that out soon. For me, you guys are gonna laugh, but no, it's really important, and it's obviously you guys know I've been going through a rough one, but you really just have to get rid of toxic people. And we've talked about it before. But as hard as it is, as big of a heart that you have, if it's not doing anything for your life, if it's making you stressed, it's making you sick, like you just have to get rid of it, as hard as it is. So that's really what I'm focusing on this year, just being surrounded by good friends like you two and my other friends, and just working on me. Yeah.
And that's a healthy practice. I think it's hard to let go of people because you always want to see the good in people. Yeah. And you want there to be positivity in a relationship or a friendship. But if it ain't working, it ain't working. I've been throwing people away for years. So.
Yeah. We did have a podcast where Malynda talked all about that. But
listen,
no,
I
it's
have
true.
No problem. But it took me a while to get to that point. But you have to for your own just wellness.
It's your life. Yeah. And you can choose who you want in and who you don't. And if it's someone's toxic, they shouldn't have control over you. And that's what I felt like.
Toxic people and energy vampires are the worst.
Especially for empaths, which
yes, Malynda, don't laugh. These people, there are some people.
No, that's what they're called.
They just
I've
suck.
never heard that phrase.
Oh my God, they just suck your
all the energy.
Yeah, they do.
I love that.
It's people with.
It's
people
like
that they will sit you down and ask nothing about you and talk all about themselves and literally suck all of the energy out of you.
Let me just make
she's making some cuts right now. She's making some cuts.
No, Google it. It's called energy vampires. Wow. It's literally a thing. And especially for empaths, which I am one of. It's so draining. It is. Because you give and you give and you give, and these people don't even care, and they just take and take and take, and you're like so exhausted. And I'm exhausted right now, but no longer will I be exhausted. Wow. Yeah.
I love that phrase. I've never heard that before, but I 100%.
They're everywhere.
Know people like that.
They go bump in the night and the day. Watch out.
The day. It's probably the day. I've already practiced all that. But
she's ahead.
I'm ahead. I've been throwing people away for a while. You all know I'm vegan, so I try to practice, healthy living in that sense. But I'm actually walking more. In LA is very odd. But I know, I walked to our coffee meeting that Jillian and Meghan and I had. Meghan was like, "You walked here?" I was like, "Yeah."
How far is that?
I walked here to Jillian's place.
Oh, okay. Just now?
Yeah. Meghan's face.
You keep surprising me.
But I'm trying to enjoy just being able to walk. I know that sounds simple, but it's something that I think we take for granted in LA because we're always driving and just stuck in our cars, and it is a beautiful city, and so I'm trying to walk more. I work out, but I think just going for a walk is really, really nice. It is. And then I gave up sugar at the beginning of the year just for a few months because I'm a huge sweet tooth person. Oh my God, it's bad. So
that's okay.
Yeah, I sometimes.
I'm just impressed with how much you've been walking.
I love it. It's great.
I'll see you next week. You'll be like, I walked here.
Yeah.
We'll be in Santa Clarita. And I'll be like, when did you have to leave, Malynda?
I'll bike. I won't walk. I'll bike to Santa Clarita.
Oh my gosh. I don't know why I chose Santa Clarita.
That's pretty far, though.
That's pretty far.
That'd be a little crazy.
I don't know
why. It'd be like a
that.
marathon or something.
Well, speaking of being healthy, we have a special guest coming up on the show, Corinne. Jill knows her, former roommate, and what would we call her?
We would call her, right? A Reiki master, a green witch, everything just holistic and amazing. And she has a wonderful spirit, and she's here to offer up some great tips for everybody listening. So stay tuned.
Cool. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, bosses. We are thrilled to have Corinne Feinberg as our first guest in 2018. Corinne is the CEO of Pathlight Healing. Yes, she is. She's a Reiki master, and she started her practice to include those with chronic illness and autoimmune disorders, emotional and childhood trauma, sexual abuse, and intuitive awareness and self-discovery to lead a purpose-driven life. I have known Corinne for many years, and she has always been wise. So I'm excited to talk about Reiki.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.
And CEO, that doesn't get any more boss than that.
Exactly.
I know. I was thinking that wasn't included in the description, but you are the CEO of Pathlight Healing. You created that, right?
Yes, it's me and me alone.
So tell me how this all started. What did this passion for self-healing and Reiki stem from?
So it's fairly recent in my history here on Earth. In 2010, I was diagnosed with chronic neurological Lyme disease. And that really shifted my path from trying to pursue music business and tour and radio promotion to just taking care of myself. And it got so bad that my driver's license was revoked. I had to move home with my parents. I couldn't work. I couldn't stand on my own. I lost a ton of weight and my hair was falling out. And I was starting to have difficulty articulating my speech, where I could see the tools of language, but I couldn't speak to anyone outside of myself because my words came out backwards, almost like an incoherent Yoda, but less wise. And I spent about 2 years trying all different types of alternative treatment, knowing that I could always fall back on pharmaceutical antibiotics as my plan B. And about 2 years in, I was in a yoga class just trying to move my body and increase breathing because oxygenating the cells actually kills the spirochete of Lyme disease. And so it was the one thing I could do where my mom could just plop me down on a yoga mat and say, okay, you're on your own, kiddo. And in this yoga class, there was a woman offering Reiki. Now, even though I'm a San Diego original, I had never experienced Reiki. It was like, oh, something woo-woo. My dad does like light healing touch and tried to get me into it. And I was like 13. I was like, I don't even get it, Dad. This is you, not me. And even before this Reiki practitioner touched me, she was probably hovering 12 inches over my body. And it was as if the switch for fight or flight turned off. And I didn't even know it was on or where it was located. Everything just shut down. All the stress, all the anxiety, all the fear, all the tension in my muscles dropped. And I felt like my body actually had a chance to regenerate itself, which is a big part of Lyme disease, is that it just keeps all the energy of your systems and organs depleted. So nothing can regenerate, and the spirochete can feast and feed off of you. So after experiencing that, I thought, I need to learn this immediately. And they're like, oh, well, there's a Reiki training at the yoga studio this weekend. We have one more spot. It's like, well, that's my in.
Yeah.
Meant to be.
Sure. Yeah.
And after doing the first 2 levels of Reiki, of which there are many levels, I was doing self-treatments probably 10 hours a day.
Wow.
So I was kind of in this like spiritual energy healing space for most of my waking hours. And within 3 months, I was symptom-free.
Wow.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Oh, I'm so intrigued by all of this because, you know, it's not that I'm like against medicine or anything. I mean, obviously, I've gotten all my vaccinations and we go to the doctors when we're ill, but I do believe fully in kind of the holistic, exactly what you do. I believe in that so much. What do you think is like the most important thing for people to know, our listeners listening, about what you do, especially if they're a little bit of a skeptic?
Right. So I consider myself a multimodality healer. So Reiki was kind of my gateway, and now I combine a lot of different healing modalities because the more tools I have in my toolbox, the more tools I have to assist someone as an individual, exactly where they're at now. So in energy healing, it kind of assesses anything that's out of balance. So whether it's physical, mental, emotional, and it's kind of trying to support you to bring you back to that better state of health because the body's always trying to move into that state and it's affected by the emotions and your thinking. So if everything can kind of harmonize and get on board, then those illnesses, ailments, depression, self-sabotaging thoughts have no place.
Right.
So it's really just a way to come into alignment of self and true sense of purpose.
I love that.
That is so amazing. Yeah.
I think what I love the most about this is that you chose to pay it forward. And I think that's such a beautiful thing because a lot of people don't, when they get healed, they don't necessarily say, well, I want to heal somebody now. So I think that that's beautiful about what you're doing. So I'm curious what the most amazing healing story that you have, that you've healed somebody else.
Okay, I'm deciding between 2 to share. So this was fairly recent in the start of my journey with Reiki. So I had maybe been symptom-free from Lyme disease for 6 months. As of today, it's been 6 years since I had Lyme disease. Still symptom-free, still baffling doctors. And this woman actually works for my dad. My dad's a veterinarian in San Diego, and she's a veterinary technician who had uterine cancer twice. It was removed, and then it came back, and all she wanted was to have a baby. And I had done one Reiki session on her, which can typically range from 60 to 90 minutes, and she just felt this sense of peace within herself. She didn't feel like, I mean, obviously the cancer was still showing up, but she just felt like it was okay, like she was released from the burden of cancer. It was just something she was experiencing. So she came back for another session, and it turned out to be a 3-hour-long session. And just following intuitively where her body was responding to the energy, it brought her to tears towards the end. And I just let her have her emotional release. And afterwards I asked her, what was coming up for you? And she said, I felt like my uterus just had to cry. A month later, she was cancer-free.
Oh my gosh.
And she had her first baby 2 years ago.
Oh my God, that's an incredible story. What a beautiful thing that you do.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Thank you.
Honestly, I feel like I'm about to get on a plane in a couple hours, and I'm experiencing all sort of anxiety. So I'm wondering, post this, if we can do a little bit of Reiki.
Well, I have to tell you, so I have known Corinne for many years. She was actually my college roommate, and this is the first time I'm seeing you, and I don't know how many.
Wait, I don't think I knew this.
Many years. Yeah,
Wait, you went to Emerson as well?
Yes.
Wait, did I know this?
No, I lived with Corinne
I went to
for
Emerson
3 years.
too, and that's how I met Jill.
So
Yeah, I lived with Corinne for 3 years, and I remember when she was first starting to get into Reiki, and I've kind of always been open to these things, but in the back of my mind, I've had this sort of like skepticism towards it. And I remember I was at her apartment in New York when she was living there, and she asked if she could do a treatment on me because I was experiencing really intense back pain. So I let her do the treatment, and I don't know how long you hovered over me, but at the end of the treatment, you were like, how was it? I was like, Corinne, it's the weirdest thing. Like, all I could see was purple. And even if I thought of another color, I couldn't see any other color. And it freaked me out the entire time you were doing it. And she's like, purple's the color of healing.
Oh my God.
And I was like, oh my God.
It's crazy.
How
My
was your back?
mother-in-law does Reiki. She did it on me, and I was like, this is crazy. But
Yeah.
it's I don't know how to
And it helped
explain
my pain, obviously. But
exactly.
the color thing was like, I was just completely freaked out because, you know, when you close your eyes and you can sort of like imagine into a spectrum, and all I was seeing was the singular color. And when she told me that, I sort of just like had peace. I was like, okay, so I get it. It worked.
That's
I
awesome.
understand. So as a business owner, how did you get your business off the ground? Because this is just you.
Yes. It took patience and perseverance and reminding myself that this is what I love. So it actually isn't until maybe the last 6 months that I've done this full time. No side gigs or day jobs. So for those starting out, don't dismiss the day job. You need to pay your bills. You need to meet your basic needs, and that will fund your budding career. It's really hard to see that light at the end of the tunnel when I was working retail full time and doing my healing work on weekends or evenings. I would have to travel sometimes to do that, and the traveling might take longer than the actual workshop or the session I was giving. And there were definitely times where I had to question, is this worth it? Is this really feeding my purpose, my passion, and my soul? Because if I start to resent it, it's going to show up in my work. And I'm not just like, you know, behind a counter trying to sell someone something. I need to be genuine. And if I'm not into it, that person's not going to be into it.
Wow, yeah.
So it's it was slow growing. And I've also moved around like 3 times since I started doing Reiki. So it was starting over and over and over again. But it showed me that I had a formula, that I could build my business anywhere. And I recently moved to the Boston area, and within 6 months built my entire business to the point where I'm turning down business. So it's remaining in that passionate state and giving myself permission to adjust if I needed to. If this path wasn't leading me to anything that felt supportive or had traction, I would try something else, but I always had something else to try.
We talk about self-edits a lot, so that sounds like what you're open for. I love that.
Do you think that sort of like the recent change in people being more into self-care has helped your business? Because I feel like in the past 5 years, I've seen people be more into the holistic side of things and that approach.
It definitely doesn't hurt. If I was doing this maybe like 50 years ago and maybe a little more education, and definitely in the Boston area.
I was just going to
say,
I was like, here in California, we're so used to this. I'm like, yeah, what's your clientele in Boston? Because we're very familiar.
Exactly.
Yeah, but that's really cool that you're obviously getting great clients in the Boston area as well. It seems like what Jill says, people are really
are open to it.
Yeah.
Yes. And fortunately, I have my kind of miraculous story of Lyme disease, which is a big gift for me. I'm so grateful for Lyme disease now, and I'm so grateful to be able to offer this to other people who are going through something similar. So in the Boston area, I actually have a lot of Lyme disease clients.
Oh, wow.
And cancer patients, and actually have been doing sound healings with the Spalding Network's Dean Center for Tick-Borne Illness in Charlestown, Massachusetts.
Oh, incredible.
So there's definitely an interest in it. I think that there's misinformation out there about woo-woo and reading auras and just sensing energies, and it can kind of move into this space of inauthenticity or something that you would find at Urban Outfitters, which I appreciate. I appreciate all that they're offering with their like spell and smudge kits and crystals, but it seems very love and light. And actually, what really needs healing is the deep, dark, and heavy.
So in addition to the Reiki, you also do sound baths, and you're a green witch. So talk a little bit about that, because I know
is all of
because
that.
I'm pretty sure Meghan has no idea what either of those things are.
I am so intrigued by all of it.
I don't
Like,
sound
I'm
bad,
so
but green witch, I'm
so
I gotta
open
know.
to all of it. So fill me in.
Yes, just gonna bombard you with
Yes,
information.
please do.
So I do sound healing with quartz crystal singing bowls. So there are these white bowls that are tuned to singular notes, and each note correlates to one of the 7 major chakras or energy centers down the midline of the body. So when you're receiving sound vibration, it's kind of like panning for gold in your energy field. So all the dust, dirt, and grit kind of sets aside, and all you're left is with this gold nugget. And that's kind of the root cause of issues. And once you find that gold nugget, everything switches, and it's kind of like a domino effect in the physical body, emotions, and the mind.
Wow.
So I do sound healing ceremonies. Usually around the new and full moon is when people like to attend most.
Isn't the new moon happening? Like,
It already happened.
oh, it just happened. Okay,
Yes,
okay. Oh,
yes.
shoot, I thought I was on it. Girl.
You're only like 2 days.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. So you can still get that new moon energy.
Awesome.
So in my sound healing ceremonies, I do a guided meditation or visualization with a channeled Reiki experience. So usually I have 18 to 20 people, so I can't go around individually to each person and offer hands-on healing while playing the crystal bowls. I've tried to play the crystal bowls with my feet, and it just doesn't work. So until I grow 2 more arms, this is my strategy. And then I play the bowls. So they kind of play with a mallet similarly to like a quartz glass goblet of water. You could like put your finger around and it has that vibratory tone. That's similar to the quartz crystal singing bowls. And then I offer an herbal tea at the end to help ground and integrate the experience. So it's kind of this trippy, transformative energy healing experience. A lot of people find that they feel consciously shifted or almost altered a little bit, as if they were high, because their vibration is being raised with the vibration of the bowls. So some might feel a physical or emotional healing experience. Some people just might feel good. But what's great about sound healing is that once you receive those vibrations, they shift in your body for up to 3 months.
Oh, wow.
So you might not feel anything for the first week, and then week 2 comes around and you're like, oh my gosh, I just want to stay in bed and cancel all of my plans. So that, and it works, they play to you and where you're at in this moment. So it's very individualistic, and you don't even need to mentally or logically know what you're going through.
Wow.
So that's the sound healing part.
That's part 1. On to part 2.
Green witch is something that I recently started referring to myself as. I kind of had this fear of labeling myself as a witch or assuming the power of that. Because witch is not someone who dresses in all black, is crafting spells or hexes on people or scaring children. A witch is an empowered woman. It's someone who's a healer, who's wise, who understands their power and embodies it.
Wow.
And once I found that definition through Lisa Lister's witch book, she is a 3rd generation witch. And then I thought, well, this was all around the time of the Me Too hashtag. And I was like, this is what I need. And when I actually said I'm a witch, I think I said it in writing first. I had this like wrath of my power that came back to me. And I thought, whew, just that from a word, like to re-empower that word was a profound shift for me in my work. And the green witch aspect, because we can all be different kinds of witches. A boss witch.
We're all boss witches.
Exactly. Green witch comes from my relationship with the plants and my herbal medicine background. Because it's not just what chemical compounds are in each herb that we're using for medicine. It's connecting to the spirit and consciousness of the plant and seeing them as our ancestors, our elders. They've been on this earth a lot longer than humankind has. And before we had scientists studying herbs under a microscope or plants, how did we know the medicine? It's because the wise woman, the elder, the shaman, the medicine woman would enter into ceremony to honor the spirit of the plant and have it show her what its benefit was. And so that's how I approach my herbal medicine. Not only making products for people, whether it's custom products or products that I sell through my online shop, or teaching people how to connect with the spirit of the plants and bring them back to their intuitive intelligence of the body to know how to do this.
That's
Now,
incredible.
Yeah.
You brought a huge jar with you today.
Wait, I feel like I'm like meditating.
Like,
as you're
so
speaking.
look over there. There's a huge jar that she brought.
Oh, yes, what is
So what's in the jar?
Yes, so that's blue lotus, which is actually a water lily, not a lotus flower. The Latin name is Nymphaea cerulea. And it's a consciousness shifter or a nervine. So it moves you out of that stress state of fight or flight into rest and relaxation. Kind of shutting off the monkey mind and coming into the body. It's also
So I was like, I'm here, so I'm going to take this with me.
yeah, well, I
You
brought
need
it
it
for
before your
all
flight.
of us to share.
Oh, seriously?
She's so excited.
Oh my God.
She literally
really
needs
I
it
can't
before
even
she
tell
gets
you
on
how
this
much I
plane.
need this right now.
She needs it.
Oh yeah, it's
I'm
also,
sure you can feel my energy. I'm a little anxious. Like, I hate flying so much. I'm like,
then this is your ally because
Okay.
it's also anti-spasmodic, so it's going to relax any muscles that are in spasm, and it's soothing to the digestive system.
I was just
It
gonna say,
tends
good.
to kick
is
up.
it going to make me, you know, have to
No.
go to the bathroom? Okay.
It's not a laxative.
Okay. So I was like, I'm going to be on a plane. People are going to hate me. You know?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It made good.
I feel like
That's perfect.
I feel like, you know, we've all learned so much here, but
Yes.
just I had no idea about half
Yeah.
of these things.
It's
And I know you.
incredible.
And it's just like your journey has been, I feel like I see your purpose. Like it is so, it's like tunnel vision.
It is.
Like you're meant to do this.
I love
You are.
that.
It's so amazing.
100%.
So for our listeners that may want to get into Reiki or doing sound baths, how would you suggest they ease into doing it?
Yes. So with Reiki, I recommend either going to like a donation-based Reiki share. Usually practitioners will host like an evening where it's donation-based and you can experience like a 15 or 20-minute session, or going to a yoga class that might have Reiki. If you want to dive in a little deeper, getting a Reiki session, whether it's in person or via distance, depending on your comfort level, because energy knows no time, distance, or space, so that's why it can work remotely. And experiencing firsthand what Reiki feels like.
Wow.
And then that usually leads to an interest in learning how to channel Reiki for yourself or to work with other people. It's one of the most powerful self-care tools that I know of because I can do it anywhere and I'm not reliant on anything. It's flowing right now for me. So like I'm just sitting here receiving Reiki.
That's amazing.
And for sound healing, there are a lot of people in metropolitan cities that are doing sound healing. You don't necessarily need a private sound healing session, but find someone that you feel comfortable with. Someone that just feels good, whether you can explain it in words or not, and going with that. If there's some hesitation, maybe asking what it's around. Is it around this person who's offering the healing work, or is it from not knowing what the experience will entail? But just starting to experience it in group or in workshops is probably the best place to start.
Amazing.
And for everyone to find you, since you can do the work remotely, where can they reach out?
So on my website, I have an online calendar, so you can book sessions right away. I call that my little intern, because otherwise it's all me doing everything else. So that's www.pathlighthealing.com.
Fantastic.
And you can also find me on Instagram, because that's really the only social media that I like and enjoy posting on. And I try to be as authentic as possible.
That's great.
Perfect. Oh, what's your Instagram handle?
Pathlight Healing.
Okay, perfect. Well, I'm healed.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm healed. No, thank you so much. I seriously learned
thank
so
you for
much.
coming.
And well, we'll see you guys. Oh,
Next
it
time.
is the new year.
Yeah.
We'll see you
next time.
later. Bye,
you
guys.
next week.
Bye.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Boss Please Pod. And don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe on iTunes. Navigate the path to your best self with us, because bossing together is always better.